Well, hello there, my dear church boys, and welcome to St. Robert's Daygame Pickup Podcast, episode number 54. And today I will talk about troubleshooting your daygame sets, or the typical mistakes, the most common mistakes I hear in almost every set, every recorded set that is sent to me by my Skype coaching students, or that I see students make in the first day of infield coaching. They repeat the mistakes over and over again. Basically, every set I've received or every guy I've coached has made some or all of these mistakes. And if you learn to recognize where you're making them and learn to fix them, your day game will progress much faster. We will talk about everything from opening strong and what is a strong open, to your voice, to using pre-openers, how to open better, stacking, finding a topic to talk about, storytelling, looking for the hook point, how to find out if there is a hook point, what to do if there is no hook point, and when eventually to just leave the set if nothing happens and if you can't get her to hook. If you are recording your sets and you listen to them and you want to figure out how to improve them, then these are the things you should be looking at, you should be paying attention to. But before we get into that, a few announcements. As always, you know that I'm recording this podcast every week or every other week, depending on how busy I am with my Skype schedule. But if there is anything more I want to share with my audience, I sometimes send it out to a mailing list, or most often I'll just talk about it in our Daygame Church group chat on the Telegram app. So if you want to join the mailing list and the group chat and not miss any information that might be important, like travels, where I'm going, where I'm at, some interviews that are coming up, and opportunities to ask the guests any questions you want to ask, then go to my website, strobert.blog, that is strobert.blog, and join the mailing list. In the welcome email, you will also get a link to use to join our group chat. I am still in Riga, but I'm leaving in a few days. I'm leaving on Tuesday morning, and I am going to London. Most of you guys don't know that. So I'll be in London. I'll be coaching a guy in London next week, and then a week after that, I'm going to Cambridge to coach another student. I do have my flights to London. I do know how to get to Cambridge and back, but I don't have my flights away from London. So if you are in London and want to get some infield coaching, then I might be able to coach you after the student I coach in Cambridge. So that would be late October. If you are interested in that, get in touch with me as soon as possible before I get my flights to Poland, because I'm then going to Poland, where I will be coaching another student, and I'll be staying in Poland for a while, probably a month, I don't know. I want to explore Tatry Mountains and just explore Polish nature a little bit. So I'll be in Warsaw and around Warsaw. If you want to come to Warsaw for some infield coaching, you can hit me up for that as well. But now enough intro, and let's start looking at how to fix your mistakes in sets. First on the list of topics we should talk about is opening strong. And what does it mean to open strong? A lot of guys will ask, can I open a standing girl that's just waiting for something? Can I open a seated girl? Can I, when a girl is walking towards me, can I just stop her while she's coming towards me instead of letting her pass and then doing the front stop where you run around her? And I can understand all of those questions, but let's talk about it a little bit. So, why do students that start learning want to open a standing girl? Well, because then they don't have to make this aggressive monkey-like running thing where they run around the girl, they get in front of her, they extend their hand and say, hi, sorry, da 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 da. They don't have to do the strong open. They can just walk up to a girl who's standing. And that is way easier if you're learning. And if you're doing less than 25 sets a week, then you shouldn't be doing that. You should be learning strong stops, because strong stops are way scarier. It's scary to open in the right way. That's why students make opening mistakes. That's why they open weak, because it's psychologically easier. So when a student asks me, can I open a girl that's just standing and waiting? Well, if I see that the student has no problems opening strong, a girl who's walking fast, he can just run around her, front stop her, perfect. I'll let him open a standing girl or a seated girl. If he has problems opening strong, a girl who's walking fast and that doesn't look too friendly, then no, he cannot open standing girls because I need to work on, learning him to have more balls or bigger balls. So that's one. It's the same with seated girls. Also, it's easier. Just walk up to a seated girl. She can just tell you to fuck off. So it's also easier. And when a girl is coming towards you, can you just stop her? There are two options. You can let her pass and then run around her, do the typical London front stop, or you can just open her while she's walking towards you. I've tested both versions, and to me, letting a girl pass and then opening with the London front stop works much, much better. Again, it's a bit more aggressive, so it takes more balls, it takes bigger balls. So I still suggest you always let them pass and then do a proper front stop. If you have problems with that, actually, let's put it like that. If you don't do 25 sets in a week, then you shouldn't be focusing on standing girls, on seated girls, or on girls walking towards you. Just like let them pass or open girls always in the same way. Do run around them, get in front of them, and do the London front stop. That's it. That's the only thing you should be thinking about if you're doing less than 25 sets a week. If you want to kind of figure out a little bit more why it is like that, then find the episode in my podcast. It's called something like What Day Game is All About and Why Everyone Sucks at It. And I go more in depth on this topic there. So now let's talk about what is a strong open. First of all, you are 100% in front of the girl. You're not opening from the back. You're not opening from the side. You do get completely in front of her. Again, opening from the side, a little bit easier, a little bit weaker, might be easier for a beginner. It is a good open if you're advanced and you know what you're doing. I often open from the back. But again, in most cities or in many cities, it doesn't work. You have to be 100% in front of the girl. Especially in cities like New York City, if you're not 100% in front of the girl, she will not stop unless you have the thickest frame. But even then, it's much easier to get them to stop by getting 100% in front of them. Okay, so next one, eye contact. Make sure, sometimes what guys do is they are running, like the girl is walking and a guy will run up to the girl, get in front of her, extend a hand and then say hi, and only then look in the eyes. So catch the eye contact as soon as you're next to the girl. Then start looking at her. You're passing the girl, you're running past the girl, look in her eyes, do the front stop, but you already have eye contact a little bit sooner instead of just running, getting in front of her, and only then getting the eye contact. That's a small nuance, but it improves your sets. The same with smile. Have a fucking smile. Don't be serious. Obviously, don't laugh or anything like that, but just like have a nice positive smile. Leave enough distance. This is important, especially nowadays when people listen to music and are on their phones all the time. If you don't leave enough space, a girl might not notice you soon enough and actually bump into you. I've had cases where I don't think I've had a case where a girl bumps into a student, but it has been really, really close. And a good distance, what would be a good distance? So if you are extending your hand in front of a girl to kind of show her that you want her to stop, then when she stops, she should be kind of in the distance of one extended arm, so when you stop, it should be a bit more like 1.5 hands or whatever, something like that. But make sure there is enough distance. And one nice thing you can add or improve is, so you're stopping the girl, you have the eye contact, you're smiling, you say hi. And some guys say, hi, I know this is very random, but I just have to say da 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 da. Or even if they're not talking fast, they say, hi, sorry, I know this is random, but there is no pause. I actually suggest saying hi, obviously in a confident, strong voice, and then having a little pause, like, hey. Sorry, I know this is completely random. And you heard how there was a small pause after the hi? Like, hi. Sorry, I know this is. So it gives her like a half a second to stop and look up and like, wait, what? And then you're delivering the pre-opener. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the voice. You already know the voice has to be low. You have to speak slow. I have almost never heard a student talk too slow in a set. I've been doing sets where I've been speaking way too slow, just to see how it works, and it actually works better. So when opening, slower is better. I've had one student who was speaking too slow, and that was because he was always speaking too fast, and I made him speak slower, and he started speaking way too slow. So we had to like kind of calibrate the speed of his voice. But in general, low voice is better, slow voice is better, and especially if you are from USA and Canada. This is something I've seen, heard rather, yeah, I've heard this in most of my American and Canadian students, is they like to look for approval by raising the pitch at the end of the words or questions or sentences to kind of not seem as threatening, and it's a very weak thing to do. So make sure you don't do that. Don't raise the pitch of the voice at the end of words, at the end of sentences. Record your sets and listen to the thing. And yes, recording your sets will be a disaster. It's not something, by the way, you should focus on if you're doing less than 25 sets, because if you, as you know, if you have seen the free video course on my website about learning Daygame faster, it's how to learn Daygame faster, and it's about 3 pillars of learning Daygame, or 3 phases of learning Daygame. And the first one is getting to 25 sets a week, doing enough volume, and only then you should start thinking about quality of your sets. So if you're doing at least 25 sets a week, then yes, start recording your sets, start listening to them, and start working on your quality. And that's when you should start thinking about your voice. Okay, now next, let's talk about pre-openers. Pre-opener is something you say before you open a girl. So instead of just walking up to a girl and saying, hi, you look cute. What I noticed about you is da 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 da. They're going straight into the open, like giving a compliment, then going to the stack. Well, why do we use pre-openers? And again, if you've seen Beginner's Guide to Daygame on YouTube, then you see guys doing a pre-opener and other things, but they're not explained in depth. Why do you do them? Sometimes it's missing in those videos. So why do we do a pre-opener? A girl is going somewhere, she's thinking about something, maybe she's listening to music, maybe she's on her phone, and sometimes she just doesn't really hear what you're saying to her. Not even if she's not listening to music, she was just thinking about something, and you rush in front of her and you say something, and she doesn't even register that she should stop and talk to you. So that's why we do a pre-opener. It's to make her stop, make her realize you're talking to her. And again, we do the pre-opener in a slow voice, so she can actually understand what you're saying. I've had students that speak so fast when we start working with them that girls don't even understand what they're saying. So pre-opener might be something like, hey, I'm sorry, I know this is really random, but I just da 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 da, and then you go to the open. Or you might say, hey, sorry, I just have to tell you one thing really quickly. Or something like, if you are in a non-English speaking country, I might say, hey, sorry, I hope you do speak any English at all. And I'm not asking a question, I'm not asking whether she speaks English, I'm just making a statement. I'm saying, hey, sorry, I hope you do speak any English at all. And when you use this pre-opener, it doesn't matter if she says yes or no. You keep going with your line, you deliver your opener. It's just as if you say, hey, can I say one thing to you really quickly? And she says no, and you just say, well, I just saw you and I had to say da 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 da. Don't Don't listen to what she responds to your pre-opener. Pre-opener just has to make her stop and listen. No, she's already stopped, but it is the thing that gets her listening to what you are saying. Okay, so that's why we're doing pre-opener. And one more thing about pre-openers, you only need one pre-opener. I recently had a student send me several recordings for a Skype coaching call, and he was doing two pre-openers. He was saying, "Hey, do you speak any English?" And she said yes. And then he said, "Oh, can I tell you one thing really quickly?" So he was doing two pre-openers, which is not necessarily. You only need one pre-opener. You don't need her permission to tell her one thing. It's only a formality to get her to stop and really understand what's going on. Okay, and now that you've stopped her strong, you've used a good voice, and you have used your pre-opener. Now it's time to open, and in Daygame we typically open with a compliment, as you know. So you might say something like, "Hey, I hope you do speak any English. I just saw you over there and I thought you looked really cute and I had to say hi." Or you can say, "I saw you over there and I thought you look very nice." Something like that. Doesn't matter. It's just a compliment. You tell her she looks nice, she looks beautiful. And at this point, she might say thank you. She might seem like, "Oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you so much." She might like it. She might not give a fuck. She might even start walking away. There are very different reactions. But again, it doesn't matter. Your performance or what you do in the beginning of a set, you shouldn't pay attention to how a girl reacts to it. In a way, like if you give her the open, you say, "Oh, I saw you from over there and you looked very cute. I had to say hi." Regardless of her reaction, you keep going and you say the stack. Even if she's walking away, you keep telling the stack until you've delivered it. And if she walks up, okay, sometimes when you start delivering a stack, she will come back. That happened a lot to me when I was learning. And actually saying this made me remember one thing about opening strong. And this is important. So especially again, I've seen this problem with many students that are real nice guys. So when a girl doesn't stop, you never go with her. You stay in the place. You hold your ground. When you run around her and you stop in front of her and you have to stay there. You don't take that half step back. A lot of students, they stop there and they then take a half step back. And the girl sees that you're stepping back and she just keeps walking. She doesn't even stop because she sees, "Oh, he keeps walking. Like I don't have to stop." So yeah, whatever happens, you never walk with a girl, at least when you're learning, when you've kind of understood how game works. And yeah, there are some cases when you can walk with a girl, but you shouldn't be doing that if you're a beginner. And let's say if you have less than 8 day game lays, you should never ever walk with a girl. It's a bad habit you'll build, and that's it. So okay, we open strong, we use the proper voice, we use the pre-opener, we said she looked cute and we had to say hi. What happens next? Let's talk about stacking. First of all, what is stacking and why do we stack? Because normally you would want to find a topic to talk about, and that's when guys that don't know about game, they ask, "Oh, where are you going? What are you doing? What do you do for a living?" They ask all those boring questions, and when you ask those questions to a girl who you don't know, who doesn't know you, all she sees is, "Oh, this is another boring guy who will ask stupid questions and it'll be really, really boring," and she walks up. Why would a girl answer to questions from a random guy? Imagine a random guy walks up to you on the street and starts asking, "Hey, where are you going? What are you up to? What do you do for a living? Na 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 na. What are your hobbies? Do you travel a lot?" And this random guy asks those questions. Well, would you give a fuck? Of course you wouldn't. You would be suspicious. What does this guy want? And that's the same way a girl feels. So we stack. Stacks are a word stack comes from assumption stacking. We are, instead of asking things about girl, we are assuming things. Let's take one of the most classical cliche stacks, geography stack. You might say, what I noticed about you, you look very Eastern European. You must be from Russia or Ukraine or somewhere there. It's a geography stack. You are making an assumption where she's from. And then you do the next assumption and next assumption, and that's called assumption stacking. We assume, we make stacks. We stack to find a topic to talk about that is number one. Instead of asking questions, we're doing a stack on the same subject, on the same thing you wanted to find out, but you do it as an assumption to find a topic. And the second, if you want to run better sets instead of boring ones, you do stacks that spike emotions, that bring a little spark to the set. For example, you might use my favorite stack. You might say something like, hey, I know this is really random, but I just saw you and I thought you looked really cute. I had to say hi. What I noticed about you is you were so happy. I thought she's either coming from a yoga session or she just got high this early in the morning. And I just told her she's high. At this point, she's probably giggling, she's probably laughing. A lot of my students have tried this stack. Some of them like it, many don't, so they find different stacks. That's one of my favorite stacks that I used to use a lot. And she will usually say why she's so happy. Maybe she'll say where she's coming from, where she's going to. There are very many responses she can give to a stack. A boring stack will be, what I noticed about you, you look very Italian, you look very French, you look very Russian, you look very, I don't know. Doesn't matter. That's a boring stack. Or you might say, oh, what I noticed about you, you look very serious, like a lawyer, or anything like that. That's a basic stack. It's not totally bad, but it's pretty boring. A good stack will spark emotions and will give a girl many ways she can open to that answer to that stack. So you might say the stack I just gave you. You might say you look so chilled out. I thought you're either coming from a yoga session or you just smoked some weed. So there are so many things in this one stack. It's why she's so relaxed or happy, whichever word you use. She can say that. She can say, oh no, I just finished my work day, that's why I'm so happy. Or I just did an exam. If she says she finished work day, the topic is work. If she says she finished her exam, boom, it's her university or high school or whatever it is. Or she might say, oh, I'm actually going to meet my friends. Boom, the topic is meeting friends. She might say, oh, well, I actually did smoke some weed this morning. Boom, you're talking about smoking weed in the morning. Or she might say, I'm coming from a gym, and then you'll talk about the gym. A good stack will spark emotions and give girl many ways she can she can answer to your stack. A little extra thing to tell about stacking is what happens if you have a broad topic. Let's say she says she's coming from work, and talking about work might be pretty hard, or rather you telling a story about her work would be really hard if you don't know what she's doing, or if she's a student and you don't know what she's studying. It's a really, really broad topic and it's hard to work with. Or she might say, for whatever reason, whatever, depending on the stack you used, she might say she's a tourist from I don't know, Eastern Europe, whatever. And again, if you don't know the country, it's harder to storytell. It's better if you get a broad topic. It's important to narrow that topic down. And how do we do that? She says, oh, I just finished an exam, and you do another assumption. You stack, you keep stacking. You say, oh, well, you kind of look very serious. You're probably studying law or business or something like that. And boom, again, you're not asking, what do you study? What are you studying? You're just saying, oh, you look very serious. You're making a stack about what she's studying. And she might say, oh, yeah, well, I'm studying graphic design. Boom, now you have a real topic. A real topic is graphic design. And that's something you can already start working with. And yeah, so next thing after stacking is you have to recognize the topic. You have to recognize the topic so you can talk about it and stay on the topic. And how do you do that? You do it by storytelling. Obviously, you will not have a story for any topic you can get. That would be weird if you had all those stories. The more you do this, the more stories you'll come up with. But I highly suggest you use the old classical formula. She says she's a graphical designer, and you say, oh, when I think about graphic design, I think about three things. And then you tell those things. This is a classical old formula that's been used for years because it fucking works. It's a really nice thing to do, and I do teach this to most of my infield students. Why? Because, well, there are a few things about it. First of all, whatever topic she gives you, when you say, when I think about chemical engineering, I think about three things, and well, when it comes to me, I don't know shit about chemical engineering, so I don't know what those three things are. But once I say the words, I think about three things, now I have to come up with three things. I put myself in a position where I'm forced to improvise and come up with three things on the topic of chemical engineering. So that's reason number one. When you use words, three things, you put yourself in a position where you have to deliver the goods. You have to come up with that information. And the second thing, which is more important, is when you say that phrase, when I think about whatever, I think about three things, you are creating an information gap. A girl, when she hears that you are thinking three things about the thing she does, she probably wants to know what those three things are, so she will stay there to listen to them. And now your story is to deliver those three things, one of them being a tease. The first two will be serious, and the third one will be a tease. Another very simple story you can use is it's a lawyer story. It's my lawyer story, or I call it a lawyer story, but it can be from any profession. It's a story about one of my ex-girlfriends. She was a lawyer, and whenever I used to meet a girl who was a lawyer, I'd say, "Oh my God, that's so crazy," because I used to hang out with a lot of lawyers, and I learned two things about you guys. And boom, she wants to know what those two things are, and I'd say, well, first of all, if you're a lawyer, you must be really, really hardworking. All the lawyers I knew were really, really hard workers, because in your industry, unless you have a master's degree, you can't really do shit. You just have to make coffees for everyone else and do the basic stuff. So you have to be really, really hardworking. But the other thing I learned about you guys, when the work week is over and it's the weekend, you guys were some of the craziest party people I know. Yeah, I know you probably don't go to clubs, but lawyers, I remember, have those like small house parties with like cocktails and cute snacks and everything. And I mean, it's amazing. But you guys are crazy party people. You must be like that, serious by the day, crazy, or crazy at the weekend. And obviously, yes, originally this story was about lawyers, but you can use this profession about, I don't know, doctors, about seriously any profession. You can use the same story, and it works really, really good. The important thing about storytelling is you're not just telling a story, oh, my friend da 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 did this and he was that, and it's not a story about your friend. It's just like, we'll take the lawyer story, for example. It's a story about lawyers and how lawyers are, but it's actually projected on her. It's a story about her. It's a story about how she's a hardworking girl and she's a party girl. You're putting her in that box. You're kind of projecting those stereotypes on her, and now she has to explain whether she is like that or she's not, and she has to start telling you stuff. She has to start investing. And boom, that's when the conversation starts. You said some stuff, now she said some stuff. Boom, you can tease, you can talk about it. Amazing. So that's the storytelling thing. You can use lawyer story, you can use when I think about the topic, I think about three things. Maybe you know the story about a friend that went to another city, met those girls, woke up in the park without pants. If you know that story, use it. If not, don't use it. I never liked that story, but some guys do, and they use it. Obviously, all these stories are just training wheels, and you shouldn't just copy paste use the same story in all professions. If your game is kind of evolving, you should, when possible, it's obviously better to have real stories and have a real conversation instead of just using canned stuff. But well, if you don't know what to say, use these stories. Use the three things. Use the lawyer story. Any other canned story that you know works good for you. And when you meet a girl who does, like, by doing this, you sometimes will come up with a story in your mind. You'll remember a situation from your life that something happened. You'll tell it to a girl, and you'll see that she reacted well. And it's a story about doctors because she's a doctor. Well, from now on, you know that when you meet a doctor, that's a story you can tell. It's a story. It's a real story from your life. It's not a canned copy-paste story that you use in any profession. And add it to your story bank and use it later. Okay, what comes next? You have told the story, she's investing, you're teasing her a bit more, and now we're looking for the hook point. Hook point typically has been described as this moment where she is not leaving the set. She's hooked, she wants to stay. That's usually when she asks you a question and it's clear that she doesn't want to leave. If you stopped talking for a few seconds, she wouldn't just say, "Oh, I gotta go." She would probably ask you a question. She would probably keep talking, and that's what's known as hook point. All right, I love how Mystery describes hook point in his book Mystery Method. How it's from fishing. You throw a bait, and you see if the girl hooks. And there are several baits. If you're not sure she's hooked, there are some baits you can use, some sentences you can say, and you can see how she reacts to it. My favorite so far has been, I just say, whatever her profession is, I say, I've never understood why people do it. It's so different from what I do. And here she has two options. She can either talk about herself and why she does it, and disregard the thing that you said, disregard the fact that you said it's so different from what I do. And if she's hooked, she will ask you, what do you do? And if not, she'll just say why she does it. It's kind of how I look at it. If you do a sentence like that and she doesn't, like if you throw a bait like that once and she doesn't go for it, she's not hooked, well, don't try it 3 more times in a set. That's just dumb. That's forcing the hook point. It's not a real hook point. Sooner or later she will ask a question if you say shit like that several times, but she doesn't really give a fuck. She's just being polite, and you just force the hook point, and that will not work. Another thing you can use to throw as a bait is you can say, "Oh, that's interesting. It's actually very different from where I'm from." And again, she can talk about herself, like a few sentences, or she can actually be interested in you and ask, "Oh, where are you from? Well, what is it like in there? Da 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 da." And if she doesn't hook, if she's not hooked and you teased and you teased one thing about the topic, and teasing is not the kind of topic of this podcast, but I assume you understand teasing. It's basically talking shit. It's instead of saying, "Oh, nice," it's saying, "Oh my God, that's crazy. You're a lawyer. Ah, fuck." And you kind of tease how she's, "Oh, you're one of those corporate lawyers helping big corporation take over the world," or she's a business person. It is, "Oh, you're gonna be the next Donald Trump." That's nice. So you're talking shit to a girl, and you run out of things, you run out of theses on this topic, you run out of stories on this topic. She's not hooked. What do? Well, we tested one topic, and it's time to go for another topic. And instead of asking boring questions, "Oh, so let's say you know what she does," you say, "Oh, by the way, where are you from?" Well, no, we don't do that, because again, we do not ask questions before hook point, because if she's not hooked, she doesn't give a fuck about you. You can only ask questions when a girl starts giving a fuck about you. So what do? Bingo. If you said we stack again, then you're right. We do another stack. You said you did a stack on her work maybe, or why she's relaxed, or where she's from. Well, do another stack on another topic. Find another topic to talk about. When she gives you the topic, tease on that topic, tell another story on that topic. Try that again. Tease. If she's not giving you anything on that topic as well, you can do one more stack. You can try 3 topics. If you tried one topic, didn't go anywhere, you tried another, didn't go anywhere, you tried the 3rd topic and it didn't go anywhere, just leave the set. She's not interested. Maybe if she was answering your questions but didn't invest, well, maybe you can try going for the number. It's never a bad idea to go for the number. Don't force it in this case, but just try going for a number. Okay, I gotta go, you gotta go, but another time we'll go for a drink. But that's more to practice going for the number. Number is most likely to flake, but I've had miracle cases where the girl doesn't give me anything over the set, and then I get the number and it's a date and it's an easy lay. So you never know. Okay, so you do maximum 3 topics, and if it doesn't go anywhere, then well, next one. You leave this one and you go open another girl. So that's all the parts I wanted to talk about in this podcast. I wanted to talk to you what to do until the hook point. Have to have the basics of the set, the beginning of a set, the right way, because what happens later is a bit more complicated. In a way it's complicated, in a way it's much easier. But these are the things, if you're not doing good in day game, then these are the things that are wrong in your sets. That's it. It's not what happens after the hook point that's wrong. Most likely it's these things. And if the beginning of a set is bad, then you cannot save it after the hook point. You'll still get laid once in a while when you run into the right girl, or I don't know, but these are the basics. So you have to fix all of this stuff. This is where it all starts. So who should listen to their sets, who shouldn't? If you're doing at least 25 sets a week, you should definitely listen to your sets and you should work on the quality of your game 100%. If you're doing 5 sets a week, then don't worry about recording them. It doesn't matter. The quality of your sets doesn't matter if you're not doing enough sets. You're not even warming up properly. I mean, the first 5 sets in a session are just warming up and kind of getting gets you going, and then the magic starts flowing, the better sets start happening. So if you're doing 25 sets or more a week, then great, record them and work on these things that you heard on this podcast. If you've worked on your game for more than a few months and are still struggling, you've maybe 3, maybe 6 months, and you've done it and you're not getting laid regularly, you're still struggling, then I have bad news for you. Most day gamers, almost all of them that I know that learned day game on their own, they learned it in a few months. That's it. Guys that didn't learn day game on their own in the first few months, well, I haven't met, maybe I have, but I don't remember, maybe like just a few, but I've met almost no one that learned the game on their own and it took them longer than 6 months. So if you've been struggling for more than a few months, then just get some help. Either get infield coaching or hop on a Skype call with me. I mean, Skype call is not gonna make you go bankrupt, but it will really help you to figure out what's wrong in your sets, what you should focus on for the next 100 sets, and how you can take your game to the next level. And don't let your ego get in the way. I know when I travel and wherever I go, like every BJJ gym or wherever I go, and guys ask me, hey, where are you from and what do you do? And I tell them, oh, I'm a dating coach. I teach guys how to meet girls on the street. And there are 2 types of responses I get. The coolest guys I've met always say, the coolest, most confident guys, they say, oh my God, that's so amazing. Yeah, that's great. You have an amazing job. That's so cool. I bet you have so many great stories. When we were younger, we were like going to clubs and we were partying, picking up chicks. It's incredible. Dude, you have an amazing job. Those are usually the coolest guys I know, the coolest guys I meet. And then there are guys that I meet that start saying, oh no, yeah, that's cool, but I would never need help with my game. Yeah, I'm 25, I'm banging these 35-year-old chicks. I'm really good with my game. Yeah, I'm a cool dude. So those guys have ego in their way. They're sleeping with girls way older than they are. Maybe not the hottest girls in the world. Maybe they are like good-looking 35-year-old girls, but that's not the same as banging a fresh, young 20-year-old. So don't be the guy that lets his ego get in the way of getting help. And if you're seriously, if you have been learning for more than 3 to 6 months and not are not getting anywhere, then well, either hop on a Skype call with me or let me know if you're in London, because as I said, I'll be there. I don't have the flight away from London, but I'll be getting that flight in the next few days, probably by the end of next week. So if you want to do something in London, let me know. Poland is afterwards, and after Poland, I am probably going most likely somewhere in Balkans. Maybe I'll be I'm thinking about a week in Serbia. Maybe I'll do some Montenegro, but I'll definitely be in Croatia because I have a boot camp planned in Zagreb in December, but we'll see what happens. So if you want to do any of those things, then let me know. Send me an email to robert@strobert.blog. That is robert@strobert.blog. Or simply go to my website and under coaching, just find infield coaching or Skype coaching and fill out the forms that are there. If you found this podcast valuable, if you found some things that you can improve in your sets or how you can make your day game better, then if you're listening to this on YouTube, leave this video a thumbs up, leave a comment saying what you learned. Or if you're listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, or any other podcasting platform, then please give me a 5-star review, because that helps me make this podcast more popular, reach more guys, and help more guys take control of their dating life and start dating girls they really like. And also you can send this to a wing if you think your wing needs to hear this. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening and have a great day, guys.